The Google songs? The Google songs can be nice.
Alright, so we want to use this opportunity to say a special good evening and to everyone following us. This is a featured voice of River G County, Radio GFM 90.2. We want to say that to all of our listeners, we all shoot to be by your radio because we have important guests with us this evening and within River G County. So it's better for you to be informed. So we ask you to inform your relatives and everyone listening to the radio who are not listening to join us on the special section of interview. Today we are opportune to have Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He's here with us. He's also vying for the presidency in Liberia. So we want to take this time to welcome you, sir. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much, and let me say to all my people of River G, Tattoo, and Yeswa Tattoo, for finding the young lady who was missing for a few days. I was really concerned about that. And we thank God that she's back. And I was not going to leave River G in good conscience without contributing to the effort to find her. I was really concerned about her. So I thank God that she's back. Okay. But we need to investigate and find out how she got missing. Okay. You know, and I want to thank the people of River G for standing up, especially the women. I understand that with demonstration, they really raised the profile of the issue, and I like the fact that they show so much concern. It's good, and it yielded a good result.
Okay, so Councillor, it's a pleasure to have you in River G County. Now you are our guest, not only the radio station, but the entire county.
Yes.
By the southeast as well. So, can you kindly share with the public exactly what is your preference of this tour of this?
Well, I'm one of the newer politicians. I've been known in Liberia as a human rights lawyer, an advocate for good governance, respect for the rule of law and human rights. And so people call me poor man's lawyer. That is something that people are accustomed to. The new hat I put on as a politician is something that I need to make all Liberians to be accustomed to. So I'm going around Liberia to introduce myself in a new way as a politician, that I'm running to be president of Liberia. But again, as an advocate for good governance and rule of law, I'm a different kind of politician. I actually want Liberian people to give me the assignment through their vote in 2010 to be employed as a project manager, their project manager, to change Liberia's story from the way it is now, from a bad story to a very good story. Because I strongly believe that a better Liberia is possible.
A better Liberia is possible. So, Councillor, can you talk more about yourself? Perhaps because, like you rightly put it, you are strange in politics, right? In politics, though you are well known in Liberia as a councillor. But then coming to this presidency of Battle for the People's Station, Council 2023, that we are all looking forward to. So, can you explain to the public about yourself, share more of your information? Who are you? And since indeed you're a councillor, how you started things?
Okay, so, you know, our people say in all of the languages, and even in our pidgin English, our everyday Liberian English, if you say you can plot a new map through the old one, so it's important to know who I am. I studied economics at the University of Liberia. I have a degree in economics. To show that I know economics, I taught economics at the University of Liberia from 1982 to 1990. I'm not even sure whether you were born. I taught people like Joe Howard, Justice Kabina Janet, Justice Kaba, the current, the most recent senator, or the newest senator from Lofa Kande, Councillor Joseph Jala, Senator Joseph Jala now. And so many big people in Liberia today. In that respect, I'm a very senior person in Liberia because I taught a lot of people who contributed to the development of this country today or are holding senior positions. Then I became a lawyer in 1988. I was admitted to practice law. So 88, this is my 35th year practicing law. And I've been a poor man lawyer for most of that time, defending journalists, defending other human rights advocates, defending opposition politicians. For example, Moba Molu, the chairman of the ruling party, and many of his partisans were arrested many times under Ellen, and I represented them free of charge. Jefferson Koji, all the big names. I represented Henry Costa many times. I represented Vandala Patricks, and you know, Emmanuel Dan, right? So many people are people that benefited from my free legal service. Just this evening in Jakaken, an old man got up after I spoke to them and he said, "Do you know me?" I said, "I really don't remember you." He said, "But you represented my sister, the late Reverend Sarah Doe, Mother Sarah Doe, in Monrovia. She had a mission in Gardner's Bay. And when she died, somebody, they wanted to take over our property. You defended us. We didn't give you money, and we recovered our property. We recovered our property. So, and so, you know, I hear these things. So that's what I've been doing. Good things for the public in the area of law. But also, I work in government. I was executive assistant to Emma Sawyer from 1990 to 1994 when I was young, in my 30s. Then I became Solicitor General in 2006. 2009, I was appointed Minister of Labor. In 2010, November, I resigned because of my disagreement with several policies of President Saliba, especially a policy of failure to fight corruption in a credible way. So I resigned from that government in 2010, in her first term. And then I became president of the Bar Association in 2019. I served for 3 years, which is the only period required for presidents of the bar. And then I was succeeded by my vice president. And then later I became, some time ago, 2017 or so, before 2017, I've been teaching at the law school. I teach criminal law, criminal procedure law, and human rights law. So in the area of economics and law, I can say I'm an expert. And these two professions are important. I mention them because if you're an economist, you can be a good president. If you're a lawyer, you can be a good president. Now I have those two combined. Liberia will really have a good president if you have someone who has a good knowledge of the two subject areas. Especially in law, I've been a leader in the law profession because I was prosecutor, solicitor general for more than 3 years. I became a labor minister controlling the area of labor law and also labor economics. And then I became president of the bar. So I have an appreciable knowledge of law and economics. And I think, you know, if given the opportunity, I will use my knowledge in the law to transform Liberia in a way that Liberia has never been. So that's why I want to be a project manager to change Liberia's story for the better, because I know that I have the knowledge and experience and commitment to do so.
All right, so with everything, you know, so you do a great work and you're still working in that direction. With the good job you have done, all right, as a counselor, why is it that you leaving from that area, now you want to become president of Liberia?
Very good question. You know, as an advocate, as a critic of government, those are easy things to do. The harder thing to do is to do what you say, to do the correct things. You know, because I've been recommending, but that's an easy thing to do. When I was at the University of Liberia as a student leader, and even in my days as an advocate of good governance order and now working in government, people used to tell us, you know, It's easy to talk. Talk is cheap. But if you get into government, you do the same thing that other people are doing. Those words talk with me. So when I work in government as executive assistant to Amos Sawyer, I was very concerned about not engaging in corruption and not being arrogant and being down to earth and not getting power to get to my head. So for example, I was sent as a special envoy in 1992, young man, to Guinea and Sierra Leone. And I was given 20 days money, $4,500 for 20 days. I accomplished my mission in 2 days. In 10 days. I met President Conte. I met President Momo of Sierra Leone, both of them in 10 days. And I returned to Liberia. And the Minister of Finance at that time was Francis Capet. So I walked to him and said, Minister, I just stay away for 10 days. So the other 10 days money, $2,500, $2,250, I'm returning to government. He said, no, the money is for you. It was given as a per diem. We've taken it from the government coffers already. I said, I cannot justify the other 10 days money because I returned to base. He received the money, gave me receipt, and the next day he deposited the money and gave me my deposit slip. That was my story in government. As Solicitor General, I returned money. I did not take government money. As Minister of Labor, I returned money. I did not take government money. So when I say I can fight corruption, I mean it because I have a track record of fighting corruption. I'm also a transformer. Before I became Solicitor General, all the county attorneys in Liberia, except the one in Monrovia, were non-law school graduates. Some of them were not even high school graduates. During my confirmation hearing, I said I would transform prosecution. Before I left the Ministry of Justice for the first time since 1847, all 15 of the county attorneys throughout the country were changed to only law school graduates. The current county attorney of Lofa County, Luther Sumo, was a man I recommended to be appointed county attorney. That's transformation. And I did many other things at Justice Ministry. If I keep talking about it, it would take the whole time. But as Minister of Labor, one thing I wanted to do was Liberianization policy. 2 million non-Liberians were doing Liberian jobs that Liberians should do. So I got there and I found out that the work permit fee was low. So as an incentive to employ more Liberians, I met with my team at the Ministry of Labor and we agreed that was the right thing to do. We increased the work permit fee from $400 US to $1,000 US. And once we did that, a lot of the employers dropped many of their foreign employees. So some dropped from 50 to 20. And that created space for Liberians to be employed. And a lot of Liberians got jobs. I issued regulation number 17 that increased the work permit fee. For example, when you go to Monrovia today, all the young ladies you see as cashiers at the supermarkets were not there before the issuance of regulation number 17. So I can say I created jobs for Liberians by using the law to promote Liberianization policy. But even some employers still want their foreign employees. I say, you want foreign employees? Bring the $1,000 US. So after the issuance of that regulation, Ministry of Labor that used to make only $500,000 maximum from work permit fee made $6 million that year. So the Ministry of Information became Economic Ministry, and the government sent a banking window there. So these days, when we're putting the budget together, they say, how much do we expect from Ministry of Labor? It was under my administration. So, I have done these things. I've tried my ability to serve honestly in a government office. I've tested my ability to bring transformation to government service. And I believe that at the highest level, I will do even much better, because even as Minister of Labor, for me to issue that regulation, the president had to approve. I had to go and convince the president. But now I will be the president. I will be the cook in the kitchen. So no one will be directing me. But more than that, if you have a cook and you say the cook can cook well and you keep recommending, and you say you're a good cook, get in the kitchen and cook the food that you say you can cook. So, You know, I want to get in the kitchen myself and cook better food for Liberians.
I want to get in the kitchen myself. So if you just join us, this is a special discussion with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, vying for the presidency in Liberia, comes 2023. So, folks, we all should stay tuned. So, Councillor, what are some of those lapses, all right, you identify in Liberia, or maybe during the current leadership of President George Weah?
Massive corruption, lack of respect for the rule of law. The law in the country are not being properly applied. The big people don't obey the law. The law is selectively applied. In any country where law is selectively applied, the rule of law becomes very weak. And no country can develop without rule of law, because rule of law creates the atmosphere for socio-economic development. So I want, number one, to lay a firm foundation for rule of law in Liberia. Rule of law is number one on my 10-point agenda for better Liberia, because nothing can happen without rule of law. All right? So I have 10-point agenda for better Liberia, and there are 4 that I'd like to talk about. I've talked about them in River G in my community meetings. One, that was not number one, but coming on the road to River G, I made it number one. The road condition. Look, before, even before the war, under Tubman, under Talbot, under Doe, there used to be public work in Kanwiken right here. When we have public work, when the government had public works yard with all the yellow machines in Kanwiken, the road from Zwedru to Fishtown never cut off. All the way to Maryland, all the way to Harper in Maryland, the road was not paved. But people used to leave Harper in the morning, 6 o'clock, and reach Monrovia at 9 o'clock in the night. The road never got cut off even during the rainy season. There were public work yard in Kanwiken, there was one in Zwedru, there was one in Town, there was one in Tapeta, there was one in Kwetu, there was one in Kanta. And the yellow machines in these different areas maintain the roads. So I want to return that. I want to restore that in the governance of Liberia. It's going to take the next 50 years before government can pave all the roads in Liberia. Meanwhile, the roads must be maintained for people to move freely. Currently, the government of Liberia is violating the right of free movement of the Liberian people. Last night, I left from Kanwiken, Kilipo Kanwiken to Kanwiken. A distance, when the road is good, a distance of maximum 30 minutes. It took me 8 hours last night. We can't develop Liberia like that. It's not possible. It means that if a sick person is here, you want to carry the person to tap it at the person went down the highway. Some people spend 8 days on the road. That I saw around Guainta, no, near between Guainta and Zaita in Grand Jira County. I saw 20 cars parked there. Some of them said they have been there for 8 days. So we want to improve the road condition. I also want to make government hospital and clinics free for pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and all old people from 65 years old up. And believe me, when I become president of Liberia, all government hospitals and clinics will be much better than the private clinics, because I myself will pay surprise visits to hospitals and clinics, and they are not good. Somebody will be fired and investigated by the police to account for the things that government put in the hospitals and clinics. I also, these are 2. The third thing I want to do is to make education free for all Liberian children, from kindergarten to 12th grade, with government providing free copybooks, pencils, pens, textbooks, and free food. Also, I want to build free technical and vocational schools in the 15 counties for our young children to get skills, you know, as carpenters, tailors, mechanics, electronic technicians, electricians, and all of that, yellow machine operators, light-duty mechanics, heavy-duty mechanics, so that they can get jobs when companies come in our country. Today, it is citizens coming from other countries in the neighborhood that have been trained by the government that are getting these jobs. Our Liberian citizens go to companies and say, I can do anything, so they get low-level jobs, low-paying jobs. Today, some of the yellow machines that are operating on the road I've been run by citizens of other countries. Our Liberian citizens are standing there with a flag, paso, and the car coming out the other way, or they are with the shovels. We need to train our citizens. We need to do that so that our citizens can compete for jobs here and be able to compete for jobs outside if you work for themselves. And then the next thing I want to do, I want to make Liberia literate in 2 years. I want all Liberians to know how to read and write in 2 years, because if you can't read and write, you can use the telephone. Everything is now by telephone. If you want to send text message to your mother, she can't read, and you say that's secret, she'll have to give it to somebody. There is no more secret. So, and how I will do it, under my government, junior high students, senior high students, and college students, in every town that have colleges, high schools, and junior high schools will be employed and given stipend by government to teach at least 10 persons in their communities after school. And I know, even if you give the students $5 every month as stipend for their research, they will do it. And they will be monitored by supervising teachers who will monitor their work. And I believe even in 6 months, some people will know numbers, some people will know how to write their name, some people will know how to send simple messages. But I want to give myself time to say 2 years so that we can cover the entire country. The last thing I want to do is to change Liberia's story from being a rice importer. Liberia spends about $200 million every year to import rice from India and other countries. I want to change that story and make Liberia a rice exporter by mechanizing rice production in Liberia. Under my administration, government will buy machines and divide them among the farmers in the 15 counties through the farmers' cooperatives. And the farmers will make big farms like Kavala. For example, with machines, the citizens, the farmers of River G will be able to make like 10 farms of grain rice like Kavala. And you have 10 farms like Kavala in River G, and definitely the people of River G will never go hungry, and the price of rice will never go up. Same thing will exist in every county. More than that, the military, I want to put the military to work. The army has been there since 1908 when the Frontier Force was created, and we pay them salary every month, buying them uniform, buying them gun. They have never fought any war. I strongly believe I can make them fight another war. The war I will make them fight is I will declare war against hunger and make the army to produce not less than 100 acres of rice in each of the 15 counties, headed by the engineering and agricultural battalion of the army. And I strongly believe when the army is producing rice and the ordinary farmers are producing rice, all of them using machines, Liberia will become a rice exporter, so that instead of spending $200 million to import rice, we would then be earning $500 to $600 million from exporting rice. Then I've changed Liberia's story in the area of road, in the area of health system, in the area of education, and in the area of food security forever.
So, Councillor, thank you very much for everything you have said. Most of the things in our Liberian setting, every politician coming up and just one or two may say a word or accent that would not be on the same line. But everybody are like saying the same thing. You know, people talk about road, talk about school, talk about health, talk about education. So, what is that struggle do you have for the Liberian people? If they give you the power, you're going to do it?
My track record. When I went to Labor Ministry, I just told you what I did there. I promised the Liberian people through the Senate that I would do that. When I got it, I did more. As a labor lawyer, I saw that our labor law was weak. And I'm thankful to my predecessor, Kofi Woods. He started writing the new labor law. I spent time on it. I completed it and submitted it to President Sirleaf. They call it the Decent Work Act. Liberia was the first country to produce a labor law based on the decent work concept of the International Labor Organization, ILO. And I'm proud that I contributed to that. And so today we have a labor law that gives 3 months maternity leave to any woman who is working with a company, and it's not discretionary on the part of our management. We have paternity leave. When your wife delivers, you can spend 5 days with your wife. You cannot be dismissed. You can spend, we have compassionate leave, or you can spend 5 days with your any family member that is sick without the discretion, without the approval of your manager. And then we made the right to strike a fundamental right of workers, because the threat of strike is a tool that workers use to make management to negotiate their conditions of service. That was under my administration. Before that, the labor law made strike illegal, that any worker that goes on strike will be dismissed. And that was not illegal dismissal. So I transformed in the area of government that I work at the Justice Ministry. I told you, as Solicitor General, I transformed prosecution that today has only law school graduates as prosecutors. So when I become president, I will do exactly what I'm promising the Liberian people now. And they are easy things to do. More than that, you are saying it different on the radio. The over 260 towns that I've been to, in Nimba, in Riverses, in Grand Bassa, in Cape Mount, in Bomi, in Bon County, in Grand Jeddah, and now in River G, and I'm on my way to Maryland, Grand Crew, and Sino. Everyone has told me, Bapolo, that I'm the first presidential contender to give this message that I'm giving in the 4 areas that I believe strongly will transform life in Liberia for the better and make Liberia a true sweet land of liberty for all Liberians. That will be so sweet that Liberians will now want to depart from. And whenever they depart, they want to run back to. That's what you call a sweet land of liberty. That is my mission that I want to achieve for the Liberian people. So they should trust me based on my track record. Because in Liberia, you say, I can plant a new medicine. Show me an old one. I've already shown it.
So, sir, let's just look at your political party. For the benefit of those people who don't know the political party from...
I'm a founding member of the Liberian People's Party.
And so
that was founded by the late Dr. Amos Claudius Sawyer, funded with some sons and daughters of River G. I'd like to mention the late teacher John Conway. John Conway became the second chairman of the Liberian People's Party when Dr. Sawyer was jailed. His son, Situate Conway, is a very active supporter, a member of LPP, and very active supporter of my presidential bid. There are other founding members of LPP, and for their jobs, I don't like to mention them on the radio because of the job they are doing. Yeah, working with organizations that do not allow people, active partisans of parties, to work with, so I wouldn't call their names. But one of the founding members, I believe I can call it, his name is Senator Comney, we said, although he's in a different party now, in the Unity Party, but he was in LPP.
Why you left?
I don't know. That is his choice. Unity Party was a ruling party. Many people like to be a ruling party. I'm just suggesting maybe that's the reason. What's his name? Dr. Duwanya, one of the leading world scientists, was a member of LPP before, and then he went to the UD. But I'd like to mention him because he contributed to the struggle. You know, yeah. So there are many members of the party that came from LPP. Okay. Let me mention right here Dr. Jipley. Okay. He came on this trip with me from Dorking. Yeah. Dr. Johnson Jipley is one of the 3 Liberians that I know that have PhD in forestry. He teaches at the University of Liberia. Also, we are Kape from Tatuke is here on this trip, also from River G. There are many, many sons and daughters of River G. I don't want to risk calling all their names if I miss some names. But, you know, Johnson Jipley's elder brother, Moses Jipley, was a member of LPP. I believe he's still a member of LPP. I've not talked to him recently, but he is my friend, my schoolmate from the University of Liberia, and it's a progressive. He teaches at the Tubman University. So, you know, River G has a lot of people who have contributed to the struggle for the transformation of this country, and I respect them. Some are members of LPP, some are not. Some are the Councilor Nibali Warner. You know, he's not a member of LPP that I know, but he has contributed immensely to the transformation of this country. I must recognize him. He was dean of the law school. He employed me to teach at the University of Liberia. And there are many, many more.
So in terms of the party, let's look at the issue of decentralization. How do you look at your party in this area, like in all of the counties? How do you look at your party structure?
Our party was weak for a long time, but we are reviving it along the way. Okay. And our message of redemption, our message of sweeping corruption. I thought you were going to ask me about the Brom.
I'm going to ask you about the Brom.
You know,
don't worry, I'm going to ask
yeah.
you
So our message is so attractive that everywhere we go, every town we've been to, for example, in Rivergy, everybody wants to be a member of LPP, and the structures have been set up, even in Rivergy here. So we're setting up everywhere. We've set up a strong structure in Grand Judah, and so many people are volunteering to be cheerleader, to be campaigner, to be mobilizer, to be, you know, so we are getting there. They say the race is not to the swiftest, but he who endureth to the end. And I believe that in the end, LPP is going to win this election. There's no question about it.
Okay, and so you like you read before, like, I was about to ask you about the Brom. I thought you want to mention for the very first, I thought it was a chief, one of the chiefs, you know. Yeah, from one of the clans.
The Brom is a symbol
tell us about the Brom you got.
The Brom is a symbol of the Liberian People's Party. Okay. And its history came from 1979 when Tiawan Saye, the founder of LPP, wanted to run for the city mayor of Monrovia. The Brom was our symbol, and we said we were going to sweep Monrovia. We're going to sweep corruption from the city of Monrovia. And also, we're going to make Monrovia hygienically better by cleaning it, because there was so much dirt in Monrovia at that time, just as there's so much dirt in Monrovia today. Okay. So it's also a symbol of my campaign. I have a 12-count prescription for combating corruption. I'm not one of those who say I will have zero tolerance for corruption. Corruption will be public enemy number one, without showing how I will fight corruption. First, we'll start with transparency. As president, my salary and benefits will be on the internet. I will I will declare my assets and put the value on the internet. I will also put the asset declaration, the salary and benefits of everybody in government, in the 3 branches of government, on the internet, so that ordinary Liberians can know how much they are making. When they start building big houses in the community and investing in very expensive cars, Liberians should be able to go and read and say the man is stealing, because we know as minister how much he's making. We know as representative or senator, we know how much he's making or how much he's making. So this person is stealing. When you're a minister in my government, and I hear that you're a minister from Fishtown, from Roji, for example, you're building a 5-story building here, and the post start talking about on the radio, and my security people inform me, I would just dismiss you immediately and turn you over to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission for full investigation and prosecution. And when you're found guilty, you go to jail for 5 to 10 years. That's not sufficient for me. I'm a lawyer, and by that time I'll be a lawyer for 35 years. We'll use the law to confiscate the balance of the money, the stolen money in the bank, all your properties, including the building that you're putting up and other buildings, as well as motor vehicles and whether pempe, you know, the motorcycles and keke, whatever you bought, will all be confiscated from you, and your family that was enjoying that money will begin to suffer. And I strongly believe that when 5 ministers are in jail, all their properties are taken away, stolen properties are taken away, and the family members are suffering, all other ministers will be afraid to steal. And those who want to come to government to steal will be afraid to come to government to steal. So we have enough money to provide social services, to pay good salaries to civil servants, to nurses, to teachers, to police officers who do the real job, who are the ones that are doing the real jobs. And we'll have enough money to improve our educational system, our health system, our food production, our road, machines to maintain our roads and to build more roads, farm to market roads and all that. But there's another aspect of fighting corruption that is unique. People don't know that all these hard men that are trying to kill people, to get into government, want to get into government to engage in corruption. So when you take the opportunity for corruption out of government, the way I have my 12-count prescription, then people will be safe now. Women will be walking to the farm road, to their farms alone. Children will be coming from school and following their mothers to go to the farm without fear of being captured by somebody and killed. Because of corruption, people want to be minister, people want to be managing director, people want to be senator, they want to be representatives. They go and pay people. Because they try to go to medicine man, and medicine man say, if you bring me human being heart, you become a senator, or you become representative. You give me human being eyeball, you become managing director. You give me human being kidney, you'll be minister. You give me this one, you'll be. So because of that, and people can be living, you take their hearts. People can be living, you take their eyeballs, you have to kill them. Therefore, this ambition for getting jobs, big government jobs so that they can steal, is what is making Liberian people insecure all over the country. So when I stop corruption, the way I'm talking about it, I will also be securing the lives of the Liberian people. And I believe that I contributed to this because I've been talking about it. They were all on the internet. Since I came to Roboji, I said, look, when I become president, we'll set up a commission inquiry to investigate the disappearances of all mysterious deaths. So maybe the person who captured that lady say, the way Councilor Gongloe talking, and the election coming, let me let that girl go before I become one of the subject of his investigation. But I thank God that she's alive.
Yeah, Pastor. Also, Councilor, can you tell us, with everything you have said, what is your own expectation for the Liberian people?
The Liberian people, someone said today, somewhere, that I am the Obama in the Liberian election. Obama came with no money in the United States, a young black boy, let me say man, a young black man with the wrong name, no English name, Barack Hussein, even has Saddam Hussein name, Obama. And people say that man is not going anywhere. Yeah, he's a lawyer. He was a lawyer. He's a lawyer like me. He's a lawyer, but poor man lawyer. He does advocacy in Chicago. There, where is he going? And he doesn't have the money to go around the 50 states. People are saying the same thing about me. Councilor Gongloe is a poor man lawyer. Why he didn't get money to give to anyone? Yes, I don't have money to give bags of rice, to give money to people, to buy liquor for people. But my message is so attractive. My message is so attractive, and I believe, based on my message, I'm going to win this election first round. I'm doing things that people have not done. I just came from Jakarta tonight, and I was told by the chief elder there that I'm the first presidential candidate to go there to speak to them, that the presidential candidate usually stop on the main road. But I've been to Jakarta. Last night, I slept in Duaken. They said I was the first presidential candidate to go there. Say even representative candidates and senators don't normally go there. They send their people there to talk to them. That arrogance, I'm not practicing. I am going to the people of Liberia, the owners of power, to convince them to give me the opportunity to serve them. And so, because of that, I'm doing something that nobody has done and that nobody will be able to do. Because why do I say so? It is dry season. It's taking people 8 days to come from Monrovia here now. So that July they will come when the campaign starts in August. They will not catch up with me. And all the people I'm going to now will vote for me. They have promised me. I'm telling them, look, since you like my message, please register to vote. So on the radio now, I'm telling all the people from River G, including the superintendent, my friend who is walking in now, to register to vote. Okay. Because transformation of Liberia is on the way. The transformer is coming to make Liberia a better place, to make Liberia a sweet Liberia for all Liberians. So register to vote, because if you don't register, you will not be able to support me. You will not be able to vote for me. Just for that reason, I know politicians have disappointed the people of River G, but please register to vote. Because 3 women have left you as a man does not mean when a beautiful woman comes down, you will not agree to marry her. Because 3 men have left you does not mean that when the best man comes around, you will not agree to marry him. This is my message to the people of River G.
All right, so folks out there, you don't mind on the road, we take some calls. The line is open.
I will take it.
Yeah, let's take the call. The line is open at 0770 91.
I will not going to leave before I come to see you.
Or 0880 91 9882. We have Councilor Tiawan Gongloe, who's the president in Liberia. It is an honor to have him in the studio. But let's get your views and comments from what you have said on the radio. Tell me where you called it from.
And the superintendent just honor your studio guests.
Okay, so welcome. What is your name?
Yeah.
Go away from the radio. Go away from the radio. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Mr. To.
Mr. To. To who? Call your full name, please.
Yeah.
What is your full name?
Tovia.
Okay,
Tovia.
Okay. Make a point.
Yeah. I want to commend the studio guest, the honorable man tonight. But I heard his good message that he wants to start corruption.
Okay.
But the power labor party. You see, I'm wondering, I don't know how long to change the country. Because when I say this, the power labor party within the country is too much. If that's the country is sitting in tonight, the power labor party are here. They get marginalizing all the workers for extra person that don't have money to a full for their needs. It's very powerful. And what I want to say is that you cannot wait until the next before you do something in the country. I think it's start showing the hand mark before you can talk about protecting.
So when you talk about hand mark, when you talk about hand mark, what are you talking about?
That is, for example, I think 10 you the international road to come to the
National road.
Yeah. He uses that. He uses the international road.
The national road.
International go to Africa too.
You see the road condition. It doesn't show some him like that. There's not going to public work to do it, or not going to government to do it. It's my hand mark. I'm going to do this one until the election time is ready. Now, we are the country now. You see how I go professional company working, and the way they figure your workers, people pay for the work. What would be the contribution towards the workers?
Okay, we got a question.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. We got you. So let's take some calls, right? On 0770 91 9882 or 0880 91 9882. We take 5 calls and then get where you call it from?
This is Ben Cade.
Yeah, Ben, go ahead. Welcome, Ben Cade.
Let me say thank you to the 2 whole leaders of our time, Mr. Tiawan Gongloe, who stood the test during the heated argument of President Cllr, Cllr, and David Menda that found the document together and made Cllr go to the hearing. And the only encouragement I have for Mr. Gongloe is we should keep visiting the electric, don't give up. And Liberia now, we need to transform from what you can give me before that voting. Liberia being on these laws that will bring in policies and that will make the country to develop. So Mr. Gongloe, your message, it will be hard for the people to buy it, but keep going to the people and tell them the reason why you should buy the message, because that bill already damaged, so we need to reach the hope of our people by let this make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Hey, where you calling from? Good evening.
Yeah, evening, brother. Ruby, how you doing?
I'm good. And you?
I'm fine, so super.
What is your name?
My name is Cllr. I've been joined for the Muslim community, the Temple community.
Okay, make a point.
Let me welcome the studio guest in Riverview County. We are pleased to welcome you with almost cordiality. Okay, let's understand how the question to the studio guest who will be president of Nigeria. My question is, what makes you think you are better qualified than your opponent to be president of the Republic of Nigeria? That's my question for the president. That's Barry Istio.
Good question.
All right. Hey, listen. We'll take the next caller. Anyway, where you calling from?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay. This is Jerry Zabato, and I joined the conversation from the small market community.
Okay. Jerry, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry Zabato.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me firstly welcome the customer in the great land of the global people.
Okay.
Council, I'm one person who follows your legacy. You are a leader, and I follow you. You are one person during Manasselita that resigned because of some issues that you couldn't understand. And people like you, these are people that we need in this country to help us out. But council, we Liberian people, let me really tell you, I can still remember the message of the late Councilor Charles Walker Brodsky. But when we Liberian people couldn't take note of it, for the level of our country now, for you to get them is directly record. There are just few persons that might understand to follow you, but the vast majority, it will take time. But I pray that the majority of our friends follow us so that we can follow people like you. But the next thing that I want to add, I wish that you and Mr. Kumi would have a concrete understanding, at least with the leadership idea that the both of you have,